Okay, so what's up guys, how are we doing? And this is just a video to prove to you that I'm still alive. Also, I'm going to unbox the Switch 2, even though it's kind of too late to do that. Anyways, as you can see here, this is my alleged face reveal.
Can you stop with the fucking get on with it?
Why is that? What are you, fucking Spider-Man?
Bro.
That's a face reveal!
But nonetheless, I used the same mask for my reaction to the Nintendo Direct with Lunar and Eco, which I couldn't edit in time, even though it would have been a good video. Especially after the reaction, two of your friends happen to be Odyssey Central haters, and they constantly argue about how much they hate Odyssey Central during the Direct.
The thing that pisses me the most off, he was ranking all the taunts as Smash Brothers, and he put the Mario throwing his cap as a reference with Odyssey in like really high.
Because what made me mad is he put a lot of Rosalina's costumes really low on the list. Like I don't even think the Aurora one cracked like opinion in your preference.
I'm drinking
But
water.
yes,
I mean, dude, come on. I don't know what the hell you did, but you gotta control your fan base. Stop generating haters on your channel. Your haters are basically the reason I couldn't edit my Nintendo Direct video on time. Also, before starting this video of my unboxing, basically me glazing the Switch 2, I just want to let it be known that you don't have to buy the Switch 2. Switch 1 support is still going to continue. Now, I know y'all are gonna hate me for saying this, but Doug Bowser was right. I know y'all hated how he said if you don't have the Switch 2, then you can just play on the Switch 1, basically repeating the Xbox situation. But as far as I'm concerned, if we disregard all the upgrade packs, there are more games being released on the Switch 1 than there are on the Switch 2. Disregarding DK Bonanza since it's a Switch 2 release, both Silksong and Hades 2, two of the best games in 2025, are being released on the Switch 1. I mean, yeah, sure, the Switch 2 is a more powerful system, but if you're aiming for the playability and fun of games rather than the power of the hardware, then the Switch 1 is the cheapest and better option. Because as far as Switch 2 releases go, you're not missing out on much. The only thing you're missing out on is DK Bonanza. I love DK Bonanza so much. Now, just so you know, I am not talking about the DLC. This shit is overpriced and should have been part of the original game. I paid $70 to play on multiple worlds that exists in more than one layer. I am not about to pay another $20 for a single island that exists as a single layer. DK Bonanza base game, peak. DK Bonanza DLC, trash. But Mario Kart World, it's a different story entirely. With all the patches and updates that are going on, Mario Kart World has been a big mess. Especially with them being on a killing spree of fixing what's not broken. Like when the random chooses a 3-lap track. But they slowly fixed that issue of intermission versus lap tracks, with each update increasing the frequency of the 3-lap tracks. Unfortunately, it's still a 50-50 between the 3-lap tracks and intermission tracks, at least according to Shortcat. And Nintendo really needed this, especially given how Sega yet again made an ad dissing on Nintendo. Like I said, it's not their first time doing it. They have been doing it in the past, and they're doing it again now as part of a nostalgic advertisement. But also, don't forget that there are still other first-party games that you can still play on the Switch, such as Kirby Air Riders, Metroid Prime 4, and there's Pokemon Legends ZA, which, let's be honest, it's still a mini version of Pal World, but it will still be interesting to capture a Mega Greninja. Now, let's not forget Metroid and Pokemon are still gonna have Switch 1 versions, and the Switch 2 versions do have additional features that the Switch 1 doesn't, but in the end, it's your decision whether those features are worth it or not. I mean, all I'm saying is that they could have made the upgrade pack free, just like Hades 2, but with Nintendo's new presidency, we know what's going on here. And despite what the internet is saying, Nintendo has been getting a lot of games getting released. I mean, sure, it wasn't really on launch, since most of the third-party games on launch were already available on PC and other consoles such as PS5 and Xbox. But lately, they have been gaining more exclusivity, more third-party support, and yeah, some of them still made it to PC and not Nintendo, but all I'm saying is that the Switch 2 is getting games. but it's still not worth it to buy it on 2025. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not worth it, it's just that you're not really missing out on much, because those same third-party supports are still available for the Switch 1. It may not be the AAA third-party games since they are too heavy for the Switch 1, and arguably some of the Switch 2 first-party games should have been included in the Switch 1, just like Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon ZA, but nonetheless, Switch 1 is still getting games. I mean, sure, you still have that overpriced Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, but at least it's available for the Switch 1. Still overpriced, but nonetheless, if you want to enjoy your games on a handheld, you can still use the Switch 1. If you want to play AAA games, but you don't have the Switch 2, then you can just buy the Steam Deck, or maybe the PS5, or maybe an Xbox, any console that can run a AAA game that isn't available for the Switch 1. Now, don't get me wrong, Nintendo's third-party support has been booming, especially with third-party AAA games ever since the release of the Switch 2. It's just that it feels like Nintendo is still at the starting stages of its third-party support now that it supports AAA games. Now, let's not forget that most cases there were AAA games running better on the Switch 2 than the base 256GB Steam Deck, a PC handheld that was slightly cheaper but comparable price to the Switch 2. But the Steam Deck, or rather Steam itself, still beats the Switch 2 when it comes to its huge gaming library. It's also still evident that the PS5 and Xbox have more third-party games than the Switch 2 can currently handle. Like I said before, Switch 2's third-party library is currently intense, but it still has ways to go to at least catch up to PS5 and Xbox, and I don't even know if it's ever gonna catch up to PC. But if you're one of the ones who wants to give this chance for the Switch 2 and is a fan of the first-party games that Nintendo publishes, then feel free to buy the console. But all I'm saying is that 2025 is a very bad moment to be a Nintendo fan, and despite us wishing that this could be improved in 2026, we can't really see that happening given that Nintendo has went full corporate. And yes, I heard about Doug Bowser retiring and Devin Pitchard replacing him as president along with Satoru Shibata as CEO. But all I'm saying is that it's not going to change a thing. And no, Satoru Shibata's name doesn't imply that Satoru Iwata's soul lives on in them. They just happen to have the same first name. But the reason why the shift in CEO and presidency of America doesn't change things is because all of the main orders come from Japan, where Furukawa is still Nintendo of Japan's president and CEO. All the main decisions come from Nintendo of Japan, and all Nintendo of America can do is either fight back those decisions or basically just move along with it. And unlike Reggie, who chose to fight back, Doug Bowser chose to let it go. So now all I'm saying is that best case scenario, Nintendo is still going to be the same as it is, and worst case scenario, it's going to get worse. There's no better scenario where it's gonna get better than it is currently. Not until the leadership of Japan changes. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't really know how Nintendo works. I'm just basing my analysis entirely on the articles ever since 2024. But still, even though we're pointing fingers at the business side of Nintendo, the developers have nothing to do with it. In fact, the feedback of the games themselves have been well received, but nonetheless, all I'm saying is that you use your money wisely and think about why you're buying the Switch 2. Because in my opinion, all you need to have is one Nintendo console along with a PC. That is all you need in gaming. PS5 games and Xbox games are all available on PC now. But then again, the hardware for PC gaming is still expensive because the minimum amount of money you have to pay for a PC in order to game in it is $1,000. So you can feel free to buy a PS5 or an Xbox. Now, I'm not talking about the PS5 Pro or the 2GB version of the Xbox. Those, I feel like those are ripoffs. But it still stands that even though PC has slightly more games than PS5 and Xbox, it still feels more convenient for gamers to have home consoles to play their video games. Well, not to all gamers, but to a specific bunch. Now, I still stand by my statement when it comes to home consoles, but it's now more difficult than ever after the price increases of those consoles. The situation is especially dire with Xbox. They already raised the console prices by a lot. Twice! And let's not forget about the raised price of Xbox Game Pass. I mean, they still added the feature where you can still play Xbox Game Pass for free with a little bit of limitations, and watching ads.
You just got coconut mole.
I mean, there are going to be a few people who wouldn't mind even watching the ads during gameplay. I was crazy enough to buy the Switch 2. Who says there isn't someone else who's crazy enough to do the same with the Game Pass? And now moving on to Sony, if you already thought that there's a problem with the PS5 Pro's price tag, then it gets much worse than here. Not only raising the prices of the PS5 console, raising its prices by $50 due to tariffs, but the PS5 Digital Slim, which is 825GB, is being placed at the same price as its 1TB counterpart. And now moving on to the strangest of them all, Nintendo, that raised its prices of the Switch 1 and Switch 2 hardware along with the OG Switch console itself. Again, I'm not trying to defend them or anything, I'm basically stating facts, but they basically did with the Switch 2 what Sony and Xbox failed with their 2TB Xbox and PS5 Pro. They kept the price of the Switch 2 at its standard $450. And now in comparison to PS5 and Xbox, it looks like the cheapest option to buy a console. I mean, there's still the Steam Deck and other PCs which are still priced the same as they are even with the tariffs. Because then again, Steam Deck is not a global product but rather an American one. Tariffs have zero effect on the price of the Steam Deck. I'll further talk about that in the prices video that I am currently trying to make. Now I know there have been rumors of $80 games being released for the OG platforms, but that has only been confirmed for Xbox. Nintendo and Sony don't count. Starting off with Nintendo, other than their experiment with Mario Kart World, the Switch 2 edition games do not count. Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby are perfect examples of this. The internet is confusing the people to think that those games are actually $80 when in reality those games are actually $60 and you can pay $20 extra for a Switch 2 upgrade pack if you feel like the Switch 2 edition versions of the games are worth it. It's basically extra content. The Switch games are still gonna be at $60 and the Switch 2 games are still gonna be at $70. Even Pokemon Legends ZA and Metroid Prime are priced at $60 on the Switch 1 and priced $70 on the Switch 2 if you buy the Switch 2 edition versions of them. Again, you can still play the Switch 1 versions of those games on the Switch 2. It's just that the Switch 2 editions will add some quality changes along with little additions to the game. Basically, Nintendo proved that all of its games are going to be priced at $70 just like DK Bonanza, Kirby Air Riders, and the upcoming Mario Tennis Fever. And it might have been a greedy strategy to price Mario Kart World at $80, but then again, it was a Mario Kart game. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was already high in demand, so they decided to exploit our love for Mario Kart along with our nostalgia, and I'm very glad to see that it's slowly starting to fail. Because the game should not have been $80. This is basically why I bought the bundle, although I can't really use it as an excuse, even though I still bought a $50 game instead of an $80 one. But then again, all the Switch 2 games have been priced at $70 max, and hopefully Nintendo will not repeat its $80 flop. And with Sony, the $80 rumors have been more false than ever. Because as far as I'm concerned, the $80 price tags on Sony have only been on the digital deluxe versions of those games. And we do know that deluxe editions or DLCs have always been $20 to $10 increases. I mean, if you guys love to argue about digital deluxe and Switch 2 editions so much, then why did you not complain about DLCs even in the Switch 1 and PS4 eras? If you really want to include DLCs and deluxe editions into the mix, then games have always been $80 even back 5 years ago. The fact that you're saying it only starts in 2025, meaning that the base game is supposed to be $80, not the deluxe editions, not the DLCs, not even the Switch 2 editions. So in conclusion, $80 is only true with Mario Kart World, not entirely Nintendo, and Xbox games. Now, I'm not trying to pin down Xbox. Again, Xbox just started on its $80 spree. It will slowly realize that pricing $80 for games is actually bad for its industry, especially given how much in danger it is with all its price increases. So with that in mind, the only reason you should be buying the Switch 2 or rather the Switch preferably, is so you can have access to the Nintendo first-party games. It's basically the only reason you should buy a Nintendo console, or rather maybe a Switch 2 if you want to play a Switch 2 exclusive first-party game. And I would have stated the second reason to be for the physical collection, but we know what happened with game keycards. Despite the game keycards being developer friendly, it is also considered as an anti-consumer practice. But anyways, I think I have been on my YAP session for a while now. I think it's time to start the video. So without further ado, hi. My name is Stoli, and it's finally time for us to start this unboxing. First off with my lunch here, just put it on the side. And next up is that I don't really have an actual stand for the phone, so I'm using two boxes and I'm recording the unboxing through my phone using those boxes as a stand. Okay, so where do you even open this? Oh, right here. Okay, so I think you start up right here. Also, what is the point of unboxing videos? Is it like something that is satisfying to the audience to see? I am holding this thing and it already feels bigger than the actual Switch 1. Oh my god. Look at the Joy-Cons. Those are massive. I knew that this system was going to be bigger than the Switch 1 itself, but I didn't imagine the massive size. These bad boys, these are not beefy, but these are big. Oh my god. Bro, if I already think that these bad boys are already big, then I would be surprised of what the Steam Deck would look like. Maybe for the Xbox Rogue Ally, I don't know. It's a pretty expensive handheld. Okay, so far this is the entire system itself. Let's just see what other accessories are included in the box itself. So as I open this, oh wait, apparently something is inside. Yeah, apparently something is inside this. Oh yeah, we get the download code from Mario Kart World. But anyways, yes, I have bought the bundle. I would recommend you guys buying the bundle because it saves you $30 from buying the actual game. And to be honest, since they're not serving a $60 version of this game, I would have rather bought the $50 version of it, which is the bundle itself. And it also comes with an HDMI cable to play on docked mode. And I don't really know what those are. Oh, yeah, I think those are the Joy-Con straps. Yeah, this strap is actually looks very long. It looks longer than the one on Switch 1. Oh my god. Despite them selling this on a smaller box than the Switch 1, we have some very big stuff compared to the Switch 1 console. Still, it is a very bad design that they actually put the Switch 2 on top of the box, not inside it, because then again, that is how the stapling problem happened. Oh, we have the dock. Oh my god. This is the Switch 2 dock. It actually looks bigger than the Switch 1 dock, I guess obviously, and it kind of looks different as well. Oh wait, hold on, let me just check it from the inside. Of course it has to have an inside. How do you even open it from the inside? Hold on, let me just check it out. It's unfortunate that they only have 2 USB ports. They could have extended for 3. Yeah, I guess they're still going with the same kind of design, an upgraded design again, because it has the fan as well. Okay, I am sorry this is taking so long. I'm so stupid. Hold on, let me just check it out for myself. Okay, so I actually feel stupid now. Apparently you can just open it from the top. Yeah, I guess I was just too weak to do that. I guess I was too scared to actually break the dock itself. So basically this is where... Oh my god. So this is where you put the AC adapter, this is where you put the HDMI, and yes, they finally have a port for wired connection this time. On the Switch 1, it was a USB. They kind of depended on you to buy a USB adapter for the wired connection, but apparently now you can do it directly on the Switch 2. But let's just continue the video. Okay, let me just put this back. Let's just hope that I don't break it. Yeah, I've heard rumors that it's supposed to be flimsy. Is that flimsy compared to the Switch 1? Really? Yeah, I didn't really know that. I thought that my Switch 1 dock is about the same type of flimsiness. Okay, maybe I'm not an expert on those things. Don't take my word for it. But anyways, the next thing to check it out is the actual AC adapter. So basically the Switch 1 AC adapter is just one wire with a plug, but this one is separated between a plug and a wire by itself, a USB-C to a USB-C connection. So let's just see what else we got in stock. Okay, so we actually got the Switch 2 grip. Now, as much as I would like to make a comparison, I actually lost my Switch 1 grip, but oh my god, this actually looks huge. If someone wants to make their own kind of comparison, then feel free to do so. Like I said, the fact that they actually put the Switch on top of the box is a bad design, but other than that, fitting everything inside of a small box is absolutely perfect. It fits very well. I think I need a water break. Hold on a minute. But as I was saying, I can't wait to try out the actual Switch 2. And let me just unstrap those Joy-Cons again. I want to see what it looks like on the actual grip. Okay, as you can see, it claps. Why did I say that? I was gonna say I connected magnetically, but I instinctively said it clapped. But then again, it connects to the Switch 2 grip magnetically, because as you can see, it has the same types of magnets that the Switch 2 actually has on its side. So yeah, this is what the actual, oh my god, oh. Yeah, so this is what the actual Switch 2 Joy-Cons look like with the grip. It actually looks fantastic, and it actually looks bigger than the Switch 1 Joy-Con. I can't wait to compare the Switch 2 and Switch 1 Joy-Con size. I know that controllers are supposed to be big in general, but this, oh my god, this is big. But anyways guys, it is finally time for us to try out this bad boy, which will probably happen in the next video, as I am willing to make another video where I am trying out the software side of the Switch 2. But so far, the hardware side of the Switch 2 kind of looks neat. I can't wait to try out the accessories that come with it. I can't wait to try out everything that's inside the Switch 2. And without further ado, hi, my name is Sully, and this is my Switch 2 unboxing video. And you know what? I think I might even keep the box with me. I am already keeping the Switch 1 box with me. Unfortunately, one of my mates had to throw it out because they thought it was garbage. But now I get the chance to actually keep this Switch 2 box as a memory keepsake. And hopefully I can do that with the other consoles that I am going to buy, such as the Steam Deck. So this is the end of the unboxing video. And as you can see, this is my future self with a different pair of glasses, just so you know that this is recorded in a different time period, specifically one day after the release of Pokemon Legends ZA. But yeah, I am going to talk about Pokemon Legends ZA after I buy the game. I haven't really played the game yet or bought it for my Switch 2 or Switch 1 yet. Now getting back to the main point, summarizing the contents of this video, Pokemon Legends ZA that currently released and Metroid Prime that is going to release in the future are perfect examples as to why you might not need the Switch 2 yet. That is if you deem it overpriced, but I'm just saying, PS5 and Xbox right now with the price hikes. But then again, there can only be 3 or rather 4 reasons as to why you should buy the Switch 2. If none of those reasons apply to you, then you can still stick with your Switch 1 and the Steam Deck if you want to play the third-party AAA games. First reason, DK Bonanza. Second reason, Kirby Air Riders launching in the future. Now I know you guys are going to comment, DLC, expensive amiibos, but then again, when did I mention those? Also, who the hell made it a rule that you have to buy the overpriced amiibo along with the non-worth it DLC in order to enjoy the full game? Because last time I checked, I have never heard of that rule ever. The full games of DK Bonanza and Kirby Air Riders are $70. No more. And yet I keep seeing people posting $90 and $100 and $120. And I know about the DLC of Pokemon Legends ZA, which is highly overpriced since it's $30. That's the first I've heard of a $30 DLC. There has to be a story behind that. But anyways, I'm getting tired of this argument. I'm gonna continue about it in the next video. However, moving on. Third reason, Switch 2 additions. Now, I'm not gonna talk about Jamboree TV since most people didn't really find it appealing as I did. Because let me tell you, I actually had fun playing the game with my cousins. But then again, Mario Party is a friends and family game, so if you don't really have friends and family to play with, then you can only play with the CPUs, which is very boring. But I still gotta give it to Kirby's Forgotten Land. Not only was there additional content, but there was actually an enhancement in visuals as well, unlike Mario Party Jamboree. And it's basically the same thing with Pokemon Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4. Now speaking of the Switch 2 version of Pokemon Legends ZA, again, There are no good graphics. This can easily be replaced by increased resolution to 4K and 60 frames per second gameplay. The first handheld Pokemon game that would run at that frame rate. Because all the past Pokemon games that were running on a handheld were running at 30 frames per second max. Unless you count the ones that were running on a home console such as the Wii with Pokken Tournament as an example, because that game ran at 60 frames per second as well. And there have been rumors that the Switch 2 edition of Metroid Prime 4 is going to run at 120 frames per second. Again, those are just rumors. If it doesn't really happen, then just play the Switch 1 version without the Switch 2 edition. And as for the fourth reason, which I already know that you guys are gonna disagree, like seriously bro, I can hear you typing in the comment section. Like bro, YouTube ain't Twitter. Stop making YouTube the next Twitter, I swear to God. But my fourth reason is buying the $50 version of Mario Kart World. Okay, now hold on a second, hear me out. We know that Mario Kart World can never beat Sonic Cross Worlds. Hell, it cannot even beat Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But believe it or not, there were actually people who found the game appealing. They are still playing it right now. Die-hard fans, but they're still playing the game right now. I mean, I'm kind of one of the ones that got bored of the game after playing it for a while, but it was a fun game. As a $50 deal. That is right guys, this is why I said buy the bundle. It saves you $30 of scam money because no way this game costs $80. You're basically paying for a game that is $10 less than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Whether it's a deal maker or a breaker, that's all up to you, but in my opinion, I kinda enjoyed it for a while. So those are basically the only 4 reasons you should buy the Switch 2. Again, if those reasons don't apply to you, then you can still stick with the Switch 1. And if you're desperate for AAA games as well, then you can just buy a Steam Deck or rather a home console such as a PS5 or Xbox. Oh wait, I mean I forgot about the price increases, but PS5 didn't increase their prices that much compared to Xbox. So anyways, thank you very much guys for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video where I talk about Pokemon Legends ZA after I actually try the game. I know there's a lot of criticism in the game, but how can you have criticism if you didn't even try the game? And I understand that there are people that are not really okay with wasting their money by buying and trying out the game. But instead of looking at critics who obviously are over exaggerating how bad a game is, even though there are good aspects, just watch a gameplay video, a normal gameplay walkthrough of a game, like someone who is silent just recording and playing the game. Professor Gaming, who's one of those guys who actually records the gameplay of those games. So if you want to look at the good and the bad, then you can just watch those gameplays yourself. And if you really wanted to play the game after watching that video, then be my guest. If not, then I am happy for you. At least you got to see the truth for yourself. And I know that watching gameplays isn't exactly the same as playing the games for yourself, but it's the closest you can get to generating your own opinions about the game rather than trusting critics 100% of the time, unless you can afford to try out that game for yourself. But that is it for my video. I know I've been talking a lot. This video was supposed to be an unboxing video, but I guess that I extended it a lot. So now without further ado, hi, my name is Sully, and sorry this video is currently blurring. I hate this camera right now, but anyways, hope you enjoyed this video.